came to the NR. The reason behind SDAP protocol is that right now in LT we have very less number of quality of service like QCI 1, QCI 5 and QCI 9. But in the 5G network we required multiple quality of services like because we have different kind of services. One is EMBB, one is MMTC, one is URLCC. So we have three different kind of services. So depend upon the services, we need different kind of quality of services. In LT we called QCI, quality of service class identifier. In 5G we called 5QI, 5G quality of service identifier. Okay, so due to that reason we need this SDAP protocol. Now we have, after the SDAP protocol layer, we have PDCP, packet data convergence protocol. Okay, so PDCP layer is similarly same job like LT, few things we added more. So PDCP layer is primarily responsible for IP header compression and decompression. So have you heard about ROSCH? So in PDCP layer we required ROSCS for the compression, header compression file. Then PDCP job also like reordering and duplicate detection. This is the new things in the 5G. Then PDCP also do the ciphering, deciphering and integrity protection. Okay, and but one thing new is that here we are doing integrity protection for the DRV also. The header compression mechanism reduce the number of bits to transmit over the radio frequency. That's why we required ROSCH. Now this is the, here you can see, if you want to learn more about let me see the marker actually, if I put the marker, no. So if you want to learn more about detail for the protocol, so for the service data adaptation protocol you have to go 37.324. sorry, by mistake it's written 38, it should be 37.324. the reason is that because so many devices are supporting ENDC devices also and NEDC devices also and ENDC devices also. So service data adaptation protocol required in LT also, NR also. But when it's required, when LT is also connected to the 5G core network. Right now with the current scenario with the NSA option, SDAP protocol will not applicable. SDAP protocol only applicable to the 5G network or 4G network when those E node B or G node B is connected to the core network for the 5G. Now we have after the PDCP layer we have the radio link control layer. So radio link control layer, everyone know what is the job. So radio link control layer mainly perform the error correction. So how they are performing the error correction? So they are performing the error correction with the help of ARC, automatic repeat request mechanism. Have you heard about that? In the same thing we are doing in the LT also. In the RLC mainly perform with the error correction through automatic repeat request mechanism. Then RLC job, another job is segmentation, resegmentation of the file is coming from the upper side. It means the file is coming from the PDCP layer. So we do the segmentation and resegmentation for the IP packets. Then in sequence delivery. So these are the basic job. Now we have the MAC. MAC is one of the most important protocol layer in LT also, NR also. The reason is that MAC mainly handle the main important job like scheduling grant, random access procedure, this kind of job. So MAC is very important. Also MAC also handle the error correction through hybrid HARC. In MAC we are using HARC. In RLC level we are using ARC. Remember guys always. So a few things we changes in the MAC layer also from the LT side that we will discuss in the next slide. The last one after the MAC we have the physical layer. Okay, and everyone know physical layer means what? From base station to device side. That is called also air interface layer, L1. The physical layer handle coding, decoding, modulation and demodulation, multi-antenna processing and mapping of signal things. Okay, so we have three things. L1 that is physical layer, L2 layer 2 that is your service data adaptation, PDCP, RLC and MAC layer, and number third one is the L3. That one we called radio resource control, RRC. RRC is very important because that is RRC is handling by the control plane. So control plane mainly what they do the connection setup, mobility and security, Okay, so the main service for the RRC layer is important, like system information broadcasting, like quality of service management, and these things we required. Okay, so now we can move to the further slides. If you have any question, you can ask me during the questions. We can put in the question mark, and after finishing these slides, we will continue. Okay, so we understand up to here. So now move. So 5G radio protocol consists of user plane and the control plane. The user plane is located between IP layer and the physical layer, and control plane consists of the radio resource control protocol on RRC to the non-access system protocol, that is from AMF to the 5G core network. Okay, so here we have the two categories. One is signaling protocol, that is called layer 3 protocol. One is transport protocol, that is called layer 2. So guys, L1, most of the RF engineer is working on L1 and L3. L2 basically is working by chipset company mostly. So we just understand the scenario, how they are working. Okay, so our job is L3. This protocol are used to communicate between nodes using various messages with a defined structure. So like one example, we can see the L3 protocol is X2 and XN application protocol. When you are using EPC core network, that time it's X2 application protocol, X2 AP. When we are using 5G core network, then in that scenario we are using XN application protocol. It means and also if you see that we have E node B, NG means next generation E node B, G node B, this one EN G node B means enhanced G node B. So depend upon the scenario, this G node B required. When you are connected to the EPC, in that scenario your G node B will be enhanced. When you are connected to your E node B is connected to the 5G core network, in that scenario your E node becomes next generation E node B or enhanced E node B. And transport protocol layer, we have this protocol are used basically to transport signaling of the user data across EPC or next generation core interface. So the basic job for this L2, header compression, decompression, ciphering, segmentation, and concatenation, in sequence delivery, automatic retransmission arc. So depend upon their layer structure, these are the jobs actually we have. Okay, this is the 3GPP radio protocol structure, the basic one. Here we have user plane data, user plane protocol, and this side we have the control plane protocol. So in the user plane protocol, what we can see that we have new protocol structure. So this one, SDAP or SDAP or service data adaptation protocol, you can say. This one is added in the NR. Okay, this one we don't have in the LT side. LT side earlier only we have from PDCP, RLC, MAC and physical layer. But in NR we added SDAP. But this one is also applicable to the LT E node B when your E node B is connected to the 5G core network. Okay, same like RRC inactive state is also applicable to LT when your RRC inactive state, when your LT is connected to the 5G core network. So we have SDAP protocol. So SDAP basically job is, SDAP is basically responsible for the mapping of quality of service bearer to the radio bearer according to their quality of service requirement. Okay, so this is the important job for the SDAP. Here in NR, what will happen in LT, what is happening, the problem is that in LT we directly create the PDU session and we directly from PDCP layer we directly assign the cost. Okay, but in NR it's not like that. In NR you have to provide the different services, okay, for the quality of services, and those quality of services we map with the cost flow ID. So here mapping is as per the cost flow ID. So that's the reason we have to provide this SDAP services here, because we have different kind of services to mapping. So that's why. Now we have the PDCP layer. So PDCP layer basically the job is the PDCP layer. Basically I already explained you. PDCP basically responsible for the IP header and compression decompression. It means whatever the packets you are coming from the top layer, we compress those files with the help of ROSCS. Why? Because to save the bandwidth. then reordering and duplicate detection, then ciphering, deciphering, and integrity protection also. So now this is the protocol stack, RLC, then we have a MAC layer, then we have the physical layer. Now one thing, SDAP is only applicable in user plane. SDAP is not applicable to the control plane. In control plane, this architecture is similar to the LT1. So in LT also we have NAS that is directly connected to AMF. AMF means access mobility function, and this AMF is same job like LT. In LT we called MME, here we called AMF. Okay, so access mobility function, it means for the initial access and mobility function. Now, and this NAS is connected with the help of G-Node-B transportation. Now we have here NAS to the RRC, then PDCP layer, then we have RLC layer, then MAC layer, and physical layer. So architecture is same. This control plane structure is same like LT. There is no difference. Only some of the jobs we changes in the NR. Okay, so this is the things we have in NR. Now we can move to the architecture here. Now this one we can see that 5G control plane protocol interface architecture. So here the thing is that we have the control plane stack. So what is the control plane stack? The meaning of the control plane stack means it's basically responsible for transferring the signaling message, like your RRC connection request, RRC reconfiguration message, RRC request. So this, it means all the control part. Okay, so here we have the radio resource control. So here you can see the first one, NAS SM. SM means session management. NAS MM. MM means mobility management. This is your device side, this is your G-Node-B side, this is your AMF, this is your SMF, this is your PCF. Somebody is not aware of what is AMF. AMF is same job like MME. SMA is same job like MME plus PGW plus SGW. In NR, LT, our control plane and user plane all are together. But in NR, it's not like that. In NR, control plane and user plane are always separated. So that's the reason we separated here also MME in two parts. One part is AMF, another part is in SMF. But AMF is a part of MME, SMF is a SMF, session management function is a part of MME, SGW and PGW control plane. Okay, and UPF is a part of SGW, PGW user plane. Now we have PCF. PCF is policy charging control function. In LT, here we call policy charging function. In LT we call PCRF, policy charging rule function. Now we can see the diagram here. NAS SS is connected to NAS SM. It means session management function. And NAS mobility management is connected to the NAS MM. So here we have, now we have the RRC. So RRC layer, basically RRC layer is specified in basically 3GPP series 38.331. For LT 36.331. So RRC message, how they are transferring the data? So they are transferring the data with the help of SRV. It's same like LT. In LT also we have SRV, signaling radio bearer. In LT we have SRV1, SRV2, SRV3. SRV0, SRV1, SRV2. In NR we have SRV0, SRV1, SRV2 and SRV3. So SRV0 is same like LT, that is used for the transferring the message using common control channel, logical channel. In NR also the same thing. But SRV1 and SRV2 and SRV3 we have here to transfer the message of the dedicated marker is not working actually. I'm trying to use sorry. Yes. Okay. Right now I'm in the RRC part. In the RRC part, as I explained you, RRC message are basically used to transfer the set of signaling radio bearer. Okay. So what are the signaling radio bearer? The same like LT. In LT, how many SRV we have? SRV0, SRV1 and SRV2. In NR also we have SRV1, 0, 1, 2 and 3. 0 is basically for the common control channel. SRV1 and SRV2 basically transfer the message using dedicated control channel. Okay, logical channel. And SRV3 basically we are using for the when we have the ENDC cases. Okay, when we have the ENDC cases, that the time it's required. So so this is the reason. And RRC job, you know what are the things? RRC connection establishment, RRC request, paging, RRC connection re-establishment, reconfiguration, release. So these are the job of the RRC. Okay. Now after the RRC layer, we have the PDCP layer. I'm just talking to the PDCP of your device and GNodeB. Okay, because this protocol only in the GNodeB and the device side. So once the PDCP layer come, so PDCP I already explained you. In the PDCP in the control plane, job is same like user plane. Okay, job is same like user plane, and PDCP layer provides ciphering and integrity protection. Okay, PDCP also provide header compression function of the PDCP layer. Okay, PDCP also provide sequence number. Okay, so whatever the sequence number to transferring the signaling message. One thing here, PDCP header compression only applicable in the user plane, not applicable in the control plane. Okay, so header compression function is not applicable in the control plane, it's only applicable in the user plane. Remember guys. Now we have the RLC layer. So RLC layer here, this now we are in the RLC layer. So RLC layer have two things. What things we have? So RLC layer basically used for transfer the control plane signaling, okay, to the upper layer. In RLC layer, we have three things. One is TM, AM, and UM. TM means transparent mode, AM means acknowledged mode, UM means unacknowledged mode. So what is these things? So transparent mode and acknowledged mode only applicable to the control plane, unacknowledged mode and acknowledged mode only applicable to the user plane. Okay, so transparent mode basically used by SRP0, and acknowledged mode support atomic ARC, automate AM. Sorry, this is the word I was confused. AM is acknowledged mode support ARC actually. So to provide the reliable data transfer services, so that's why we required ARC. Okay, now we have the MAC layer. So MAC layer is basically medium access control layer, and this is one of the most important layer. So MAC layer is basically important for scheduling grant. MAC layer is basically important between generate the transport block from the logical channel data and passes down to the physical channel or physical layer. MAC layer important for to support the HARC. It means hybrid automatic repeat request protocol also. So these things. Now after that we have L1. So L1 means your physical layer. Okay, so what is the important? So L1 between device and base station here, device and base station here. So L1 basically used for the what guy? L1 is basically used for the demodulation, multiplexing, then CRC. These are the things, the important air interface job, whatever you have. If you want to learn more about L1, so you have to follow 38.211, 38.212 and 213 and 214 series 3GPP specs. Okay, now we can move to this side. So after transferring this data, so this is your protocol stack. Here we can see also. Now here we can see also here. Now after that, this interface we called NR EU interface. This interface we call from GNodeB to the AMF NGC. So NG means next generation control plane. In LT we called S1C, S1CP, right? In NR we called NGC, NGU. This and the interface we called N2 interface. So here we have NJAP to NJAP. So what is the meaning of NJAP? In LT we have S1AP. Here we have NJAP, next generation application protocol. So here channel coding is important, but this is only the protocol for the L2 and L3. That's why I didn't put in detail. Okay, so NJAP is basically your S1 AP. With the help of this one, we have the SCTP transmission protocol, the same like LT. IP, we know that IP is basically routing the data transfer between those protocol from G-Node B to AMF. Then we have the L2. If you see this diagram, this is your complete diagram for the XNC. It means XNC means like X2 CEP, like X2 control plane. So this is your architecture for the XNC, XNAP, between one G-Node B to another G-Node B, or between next generation E-Node B to between next generation E-Node B. So we have two things. One is G-Node B we have G-Node B, and one next generation. This is only applicable when this is connected to the 5G core network, not applicable when it's connected to the current scenario. Now we have AMF and SMF. So AMF and SMF is connected with the help of HTTP2, Hypertext Transmission Protocol 2. Right now in the 5G network, whatever the message we want to transfer between one network function to another network function, we require HTTP, okay, and with the help of transmission protocol. So this is the things here. So now here these things. So here after that NJAP, this part is done almost. Now we can move to the, because I don't want to go this core part because this is also not my domain. So basically my domain is only up to here. Let me clear. Okay, now we have this one is the user plane protocol stack. So once if you have any question in the control plane, you can ask me over here, so we can discuss later on. So now we have user plane protocol. So this is different than control plane. Here you can see that here we have the NAS, here we have the application and IP. Okay, so this protocol is different than that one, control plane. So here user plane, basically we are responsible for transferring the application data between end user and application server. So this is your application. Here after the UPF we have one application server, okay, and that server is connected via this one application to provide the services. So in user plane, application services directly connected to this one, okay. After that we provided, and here we are using hypertext, I told you HTTP, to transferring the from core network to core network, not G-Node B, okay. After the server we have IP, that is called internet protocol. So internet protocol layer basically anchor between, here you can see anchor between UPF to application server, okay. So what is the job for this? It basically, the job is that to route the user plane data across the packet switch network. So this IP internet protocol is directly connected to UPF, and UPF is directly connected to the application server, and that route the complete packet data, okay. Now after that we have SDAP layer. So SDAP layer, the same thing because it's user plane protocol. So SDAP layer basically provide the this is the highest layer actually, first remember in the L2. So this is the highest layer for the radio access network protocol stack, okay. Then you have because anything is coming from the top layer, so like core network directly sent to, we have three things, remember. One is access network means G-Node B, one is your core network, and one is your device. So SDAP is the highest layer here, highest layer, and SDAP basically provide between the ETRON also when it's connected to the 5G network also, and SDAP layer provide the mapping between cost flow to belonging PDU session, okay. Now this one I already explained you what is PDCP. PDCP job is same, to provide the header and compression, okay, ciphering and integrity protection for the user plane data, okay, and header compression we are using with the help of ROSCH here, okay, and these things. Now we have the RLC protocol layer. So RLC protocol layer is three things I already explained you, but in this one in this one, when it's connected to the when we have the user plane protocol stack, in this scenario we don't have transparent mode, we have only unacknowledged mode and acknowledged mode. So unacknowledgement, what it support the segmentation of the higher layer packets basically, and acknowledged mode support the for the ARC protocol to provide the reliable data. Okay, so these are the things we have in the ARC. So RLC, the MAC job is the same like LT, but MAC job is also provide the random access. MAC job is also provide the transport blocks from the logical channel. MAC also provide the HARC, automatic hybrid automatic repeat request. Okay, these things MAC provide. Now we have the L1. So L1 SDAP is the main difference. That we will go, don't worry, we will see in the slides. L1 is basically between the base station, okay, device to base station. So this is your air interface part actually. This is your air interface part, and here we have the same thing just now you explained me, channel coding, CPO FDMA in the downlink side, CPO FDM and DFDS FDMA in the uplink side, modulation is applied. Okay, these are the things we have to do. CRC, so basically transport block assignment to the CRC, these things we have here. Yeah, MIMO and all those things. Yes. Now this part is done. NG, this part is done, application layer to this one. Now we have this one, NGU. So I explained you, NG means if you called in LT, if you called S1U like S1UP and S1CP. So here we have NGC, NGU and NGC. So this is the example actually. Now we can see after the SDAP layer, so we have NGU interface, and this interface is between base station to UPF. Okay, why it's required? It's required to create to use for the PDU session of the user plane protocol. Okay, so if you want to learn more about, you have to follow the 3GPP specs actually. So this protocol is very important because this protocol is responsible for adding header information that identify the cost flow. Okay, that identify the cost flow. So this protocol provided with the help of GTPU. So GTP means GPRS tunneling protocol, GPRS tunneling protocol user plane. GP means GPRS tunneling protocol user plane. Okay, so this is the protocol, and this protocol transfer the data between user plane between one GTPU to another GTPU here, this one. Okay, so this is the things we, anyone know in LT what we are using here? I'm asking you questions, guys. Anyone know in LT what we are using between MME to MME? Because sorry, SGW here. Which protocol tunneling we are using? Yes. So the same, the protocol structure is almost same here. Now you have the G node B and next generation E node B, and this G node B and next generation E node B is connected by XN interface. Okay, and this G node B and next generation G node B is connected by XN interface. XN interface means what? This is same like your X2 interface. In LT we have X2 interface. In NR we have XN interface. The term is same, only we just put XN AP and X2 AP. Okay, so the UPF to SMF is connected via N4 interface, and the things is almost the same here. This UPF is connected by this one, N4. Now what is the UPF? UPF is user plane function, and what is SMF? SMF is your session management function. But earlier in LT it is the same thing, that is called SGW or PGW combined together. But in NR the things are different. UPF only handle the user plane part and SMF only handle the control plane part. Okay, in NR completely control plane protocol stack is upside, user plane protocol stack is downside. Okay, This is the reason. The same thing, that's the reason the deployment also they are using the DU and centralized unit for the centralized unit and distributed unit. They want to reduce the latency as much as possible for the control plane and user plane. So in the DU, you remember in DU we have the lower plane protocol stack. In the CU we have the upper plane protocol stack like RRC, SDAP and PDCP. In DU you have only RLC, MAC layer and L1 layer. Okay, so this is their plan to launch the site also in the future. Now come to this part. Number one is SDAP protocol. Okay, so what is the meaning of SDAP protocol? I already explained you. So SDAP is basically service data adaptation protocol. Okay, and this protocol added to the 5G network. Okay, and this protocol is only applicable when your 5G base station, either it's LTE or either it's 5G, that is connected to the 5G core network. And this protocol only applicable to the user plane data. Service data adaptation protocol only applicable to the user plane data. This is not applicable to the control plane data, and this is the highest layer protocol. Remember guys, in the layer 2, I'm not talking about other layer, in the layer 2. Okay, and SDAP basically provides the services from the user plane function across the NGU interface. If you see across the NGU interface, okay, because this is connected with UPF. Here, this is connected with UPF across the NGU interface. The main service and the function for the SDAP include mapping between cost flow and the data radio bearer, mapping or marking of the cost flow ID in both DL and UL packets. Okay, the reason is that why we introduce SDAP to NR, because the new quality of service handling compared to LT when it's connected to the 5G core network. In LT we have only 9 QCI, but in NR we have up to 22 5 QI as up to the release 15. Okay, but in NR we have 3 different departments also. In LT we have only GBR and non-GBR, but in NR we have GBR, non-GBR and delay grant. Okay, so delay grant basically used for the URLCC cases, and remaining GBR and non-GBR same like LT, only the sequence number it's changed. Like in LT, QCI 1 priority is 1 for the voice, QCI 5 for IMS and QCI 9 for the data, but here it's changed actually their sequence number. So how they are mapping? So SDAP is mapping basically whatever the data link is coming from the user plane. Okay, so that have some specific cost flow belonging to the specific PDU session. Okay, and that PDU session contain with the help of GTPU header. So if you miss my SDAP classes, so please follow the previous webinar. In that I covered almost 1 hour only for the SDAP. Okay, there I completely cover what is SDAP, complete protocol structure for the SDAP. Let's see. So this is the SDAP protocol entity and the function. So from the 3GPP specs 37.324. Okay, I will explain you. 3GPP 37.324. So SDAP services is that SDAP services provide to upper layer transfer of user plane data. Okay, from the upper layer. Upper layer is what? Upper layer is what? Here you can see. Upper layer means the core part, whatever the core part upper layer. And SDAP services expected from the lower layer. So what is the lower layer? Lower layer is your PDCP, user plane data transfer service. In order delivery expect when reordering functionality is disabled by RRC. SDAP function is what? Transfer of user plane data, mapping between cost flow and DRV for both uplink and downlink. Okay, marking of cost flow ID in both DL and UL packets, reflective cost flow to DRP mapping for the uplink SDAP. So how they are marking? So SDAP layer is to map each cost flow onto a specific DRP actually. Okay, so whatever the DRV is coming, like DRV1, DRV2, okay, so each DRV we provided some cost flow map on each DRV. Okay, so from the top layer, PDU session send cost flow. Okay, from that cost flow we map cost flow map ID, okay, in each DRV. So this is the mapping of the cost flow ID. Okay, and also here if you see that now we have the reflective cost flow to DRV mapping. So what is the meaning of reflective cost flow? So reflective cost flow means whatever the cost flow ID you map in the downlink side, at the same thing we have to map in the uplink. How they are mapping? They are mapping with the help of header information. So whatever the header information to the downlink data packet, when the reflective cost flow is enabled, either in the core network or non-access or whatever. So with the help of RDI and RQI, you understand we have the header of or not. Okay, if RDI and RQI is available, so we have the header. If RDI and RQI is not available, so it means we don't have cost flow identity for that DRV. Okay, let's see the example like QFI1 I provided from the downlink side. If I have the header of QFI1, then I will directly update to the uplink side. Why it's required? To reduce the latency, actually, to do the task faster. So that's why it's required cost flow ID. Okay, now we have the PDCP layer. So PDCP, packet data convergence protocol. So here we can see what are the services we have for the PDCP. So PDCP layer basically belong to the user plane also and the control plane also. So in user plane it's belong to the DRB, in the control plane it's belong to the SRV. Okay, so DRB everyone know, SRV I just now explained you, SRV0, SRV1, SRV2 and SRV3. And here PDCP layer support maximum SDU size of 9000 bytes. Okay, maximum SD size for the 9000 bytes. Now what are the service we have? So first service is transfer of user plane data. Okay, because it's applicable to the user plane also. Transfer of control plane data, because it's applicable in the control plane also. Header compression, so header compression with the help of RHCS. So why it's required header compression? SDU size, it's a PDCP SDU size maximum it will support. So header compression means what? Header compression we can enable in for DRB. Okay, header compression only applicable to DRB. Header compression is not applicable to SRB. Okay, so header compression can be enabled for DRB in both uplink and downlink direction, or only in the uplink direction. Okay, but it's only applicable to DRB, not applicable to SRB in the PDCP. And header compression we are using with the help of ROSCH, so robust header compression protocol. And this is very important because of the overhead generated by higher layer can become large, and without compression they would consume valuable air interface resources. So that's why we have to compress this file to save the bandwidth. Yes, you're right. So that's why. Now we have integrity protection. So we have integrity protection and the ciphering protection also. So ciphering, everyone know, ciphering basically used to scramble the bit belonging to the payload or PDCP packet. Okay, and integrity, ciphering is something like whatever the integrity is something like you protect the outside box, but integrity is something like ciphering is something like you protect the what are the message content in that. So that is called protection actually. So services expected from the lower layer. Acknowledged data transfer services include indication of the successful delivery of the PDCP PDU. Unacknowledged data transfer services, PDCP function, transfer of the data. Okay, transfer of the maintenance of the PDCP sequence number, SN means sequence number, header compression and decompression using ROSCH protocol, ciphering and deciphering. It means from network side you are coming ciphering, from device side it become deciphering. It means whatever the message you protected, you have to release in the device side. Integrity protection and integrity verification, it means whatever the message you are sending, that message is protected or not. In the device side, the same message we will check whether that message anyone tampered that message or not. Timer based SD discard for a split bearer and routing. In the split bearer, it's required pre-DCP layer. Duplication the message, reordering or in order delivery and out of delivery, and duplicate discard. So we can see that here, as compared to the LT, what are the new things? So in LT protocol, we don't have data duplication. Okay. In NR, we have data duplication. Okay. In NR, we have data duplication. In LT, we don't have data duplication. Also, we can see that in LT, integrity protection for DRP was not applicable. Okay. In NR, integrity protection for DRP is applicable. Why? We have to, because of the URLCC and MMTC use cases, we have to provide protection more. Reordering and in-order delivery was not available in LT, but here out of sequence delivery option also available here. I told you, because of the protection for the URLCC and MMTC use cases. Right now, when the device is when your device is in air interface, if whatever the message you are sending for DRP was not protected, so anyone can tamper that message. So in URLCC cases, we required higher security as compared to the LT. So that's the reason we have to provide the integrity protection for the DRP also. Okay, so these are the things that as compared to LT, it's not available. Rest of the things is available in LT also. In LT, if you remember the PDCP layer, the same thing they are providing in the LT also, like duplication, discard, and all those things in LT provided. ROSCS, it was available. In sequence delivery, it was available. Transfer of data in control plane, user plane, it was available. Maintenance of the PDCP sequence number, it was available. And transfer of the sequence number, these things, it was available in LT. Okay, the same thing. Only few things they changes over here. Give me 2 minutes. Let me water. We will hold the big class for the protocol separate, because this protocol we cannot finish in one session actually. So that's why we need to hold complete. This is just overview for the protocol. What are the things and what are the services we have in the protocol, that I'm going to discuss today. Maybe in the further and future class, we will hold the separate protocol section separately. Now we have the RLC protocol layer. So RLC protocol layer, basically we have in the user plane also and the control plane packets for also. Each RLC protocol having the RLC entity. Okay, each packet have RLC entity. Here you can see. Okay, this is your RLC channel. So RLC protocol basically provide the RLC channel to the PDCP layer. Okay, so we have the different RLC protocol. So what are the RLC entity we have to support? 3 modes. One is transparent mode. Okay, transparent mode, unacknowledged mode, and acknowledged mode. So we have 3 things here. You can see one is transmitting the transparent mode RLC entity. One is transmitting unacknowledged mode RLC entity. One is transport mode, acknowledged mode RLC. So acknowledged mode is applicable in both user plane and control plane, but this one is applicable in the user plane and one is applicable in the control plane. Okay, so what are the jobs here? The things is that, so number 1 is transparent mode. So what is the transparent mode function? So transparent mode function, transparent mode basically provided to the applicable to the control plane only. It's not applicable to the user plane, and they have the specific RRC message that we are using in the transparent mode. Okay, unacknowledged mode, is basically this one. Unacknowledged mode is basically provide the real-time application services, okay, like Arc and all those things. Now what are the services we have here? This one, 3 services we have here. RLC service expected from the lower layer, data transfer, it means lower layer is MAC layer, notification of the transmission opportunity, notification of the HARC delivery failure from transmitting MAC entity. So this is the lower. RLC function, segmentation and resegmentation, okay. Padding, transfer of the user data. So what is padding? Padding, we know whatever the extra message we have, we require to pad. So it will count the unnecessary message also. Transfer of the user data in the TM, UM, AM, error correction with the help of ARC, duplicate detection, flow control, RLC SDU discard only for the unacknowledged mode and acknowledged mode, and the protocol layer, protocol error detection and recovery. Okay, so these are the things for the RLC function. And what are the difference between RLC function between LT to NR? Concatenation moved from RLC to the MAC. So this was not available here. So they moved from RLC to the MAC. Okay, and so what is RLC concatenation? Basically RLC concatenation is basically to build the RLC PDU in the real non-real time operation actually. So that one moved to the MAC actually this time. Now we have the reordering move from RLC to the PDCP layer. Earlier it was reordering, it was available in the RLC, but now it's moved to the PDCP layer. Okay, so what is reordering? So reordering means the design process of the PDCP reorder, which we have in the LT, it was different. But here, whatever the message you are sending, sequence number you are sending in the down from the network to the device side, that message you have to reorder actually. So that's why it's changes in the PDCP layer this time. Number I don't remember. Is that padding here? I will explain you that one. Now we have this one, this part is done. I will explain you after this break actually, because so now this segmentation is done. Segmentation basically occur in the RLC SDU when the message is too large to allocate the payload. So that's why. So error correction is done, that is with the help of ARC. Okay, now this is this. The last one is the MAC services. So MAC protocol layer. So what is MAC protocol layer? So MAC protocol layer basically provide the services from the lower layer, the same thing, data transfer, radio resource allocation, services expected from the physical layer. It means layer 1, data transfer services, signaling of the HARC feedback, signaling of the scheduling request, measurement like channel quality indication. So this is your lower layer actually. If you see that, this is your lower layer and this is your upper layer. Okay, so here lower layer means physical layer, and this is the certain things, PCCH, BCCH, and this one. If you see the signaling mapping, there you can find these things. So MAC function, mapping between logical channel and the transport channel, multiplexing of the MAC SDU. Okay, multiplexing of the MAC SDU. Then we have the demultiplexing of the MAC SDU. Okay, then we have the scheduling information reporting. Then we have error correction through HARC and logical channel protection, channel prioritization. Now apart from that, let me explain you. Here 2 things is very important. When you are connected to the physical layer send message for the scheduling grant to the MAC actually. So in the MAC 2 things is important. One is HARC, another one is random access procedure. So random access procedure is very important in MAC. So MAC layer handle your logical channel multiplexing, MAC layer handle your hybrid ARC retransmission, MAC layer handle your scheduling and scheduling related function. MAC layer also responsible for multiplexing and demultiplexing data across multiple components when carrier aggregation is also used. So in this scenario, MAC aggregation will use. Now in the MAC layer, we have some logical channel and the transport channel. So this is your logical channel and the transport channel. Okay. So what are the logical channel? The logical channel is like your BCCH, PCCH, CCCH. So what are the job for the logical channel? So MAC provide logical channel means this part from MAC to RLC layer. Okay. Transport channel means physical layer to the RLC MAC layer. So MAC layer, yes, cursor is not working. So MAC layer provide this one. So BCCH means broadcast common control channel. So that basically provides system information block. PCCH is basically the paging control channel. This one, PCCH, that is used for the paging of device. Okay, who's to know the location, cell location. Okay. Now common control channel, that is used for the transmission of the control information with the random access. Okay. Now we have the DCCH, that is dedicated control channel, and that is used to transmission of the control information from device to network, network to device. And this channel is used to individual configuration devices. Okay. The last one we have the DTCH, so dedicated traffic channel, that is used for the transmission of user data from device to RAN to device side. Okay. So these are the things we have. Okay. Protocol layer we have to define in the NAR. If you want to know more about, so you have to see the mapping between logical transport and the physical channel. In that you can understand how in the downlink side they are mapping, how in the uplink side they are mapping. Okay. So when we will hold the big class for this protocol separately, so that time I will try to explain more. Okay. Now the last one is RRC protocol. So RRC is very important for all RF guys like us. So what is the RRC protocol? So RRC protocol offer the following services. So services is broadcast of the common control information, notification of device in RRC idle, notification of device about ETWS, transfer of dedicated signaling. Okay. And what are the service we is expected from the lower layer? So what is the lower layer for the RRC? PDCP layer. Because RRC layer only comes in the protocol control plane. So these are the jobs for the RRC. Okay. So what are the services we expect? Integrity protection, ciphering, lossless in sequence delivery of the information without duplication. So these are the things we expect from the PDCP layer. Now, what are the functions for the RRC? So RRC protocol layer, if you want to know more, so you have to follow 38.331. So the important function is broadcast of the system information. So what is the broadcast of the system information? The same thing, SIP1, SIP2, SIP3, what are the message? Then that also contain NAS information. That also contain RRC ideal state, RRC inactive state, then reselection parameter, these things. Then we have the RRC connection control also. So in that we have paging, we have RRC connection request, we have RRC connection establishment, we have RRC modification, we have RRC suspension. These are the things we have in the NR. Then access varying, security, these things we have to provide. Then inter-RAT mobility including. So whatever the things we have in LT, the same thing we have in NR also. Only the things added like RRC inactive state. Yes, LT RRC change to the NR. So many things they change actually here. In LT NR, right now we have LT. In LT we have only two state. One state we have RRC state, one we have ideal state, another state we have the connected mode state. Okay, but in NR we have three state. One is RRC ideal, one is RRC inactive state, one is RRC connected state. Job is almost same, but few things added here. Like in RRC inactive state, we have to provide another RAN notification area, RNA. Okay, like in LT we are only using tracking area code, but in NR we are using tracking area code, and that tracking area code have another RAN notification area. It means like you have 100 site in one tracking area code, you have 10 site in one RAN notification area. Okay, so RRC inactive state is very important because this right now what happened, every time we have to go from connected mode to idle state. But in NR, it's not like that. In NR, from connected mode, you will directly go to the inactive mode. It means your device is directly connected with the core network, but device is not connected with the RAN network. Okay, so this is important things they added. Okay guys, thank you. So last 1 hour I'm speaking. Now we can go for the questions and answers. In modulation technique for the NR, we are using for the LT we are using OFDMA, CPO OFDMA. NR we are using in the downlink CPO OFDMA. For the uplink we are using CPO OFDMA and DFTS OFDMA FDMA. Now Russell will take part. I'm little bit tired.
Yeah, thanks a lot,
please
Abhijit.
Carry on.
Mostly you've been handling the questions as they came up. So let me ask the listeners, any additional questions you have from Abhijit's presentation? Okay, so here's one from Shafil. Abhijit, he wants to know which modulation technique NR is using, similar to LTE OFDM.
Yes.
You need another minute to recover, Abhijit?
No, I am writing actually.
Okay.
See, the reason is that why we are using different modulation scheme in the LT NR. In the LT NR side, we have downlink, uplink, both. We have CPO FDMA, but apart from that, we are using also DFTS FDMA. The reason is that for the MMTC subscriber, those subscriber are MMTC subscriber, those coverage area is very poor. So DFTS FDMA support pi by 2 BPSK modulation scheme. Okay, so they support pi by 2 BPSK modulation scheme. Okay, to handle the lower modulation scheme to the subscriber who are using the MMTC, like because MMTC subscriber required very low. Okay, they required very low things, low information. They don't require huge information. So that's why to provide the services, they are using this one.
Okay. There was a question about padding, and Hatem resubmitted it for us. Thanks, Hatem. Is the zero padded, or is there a certain sequence of bits to be padded in the padding?
Depend upon this, like NR RLC function, it's same like your LT. If you see that in LT also we are adding the padding in the MAC PDU actually. So here also we added the PDU in the MAC. We have the header file, one padding file we added here also. Depend upon what kind of visually it's a 6-bit, I think. I have to check. I don't remember right now. Usually it's a 6-bit.
Okay. I think you handled most of the questions as they came up. Any other questions that you guys have come up with, or that we didn't answer the first time through the presentation?
And this padding is the same like LT, like your buffer status, the same like LT.
So Fahid asks what radio band NR works on, like the LTE 40 band?
See, Fahid, in LTE we have only one frequency spectrum, but in NR we have FR1 and FR2. In FR1, mostly below 6 gigahertz band. In FR2, mostly we have more than 6 gigahertz band. In FR1, we have so many frequency, and that is start from N1 to up to N35, 85. Okay, and depend upon that we are using different bands. But FR2 we have only 4 right now, so we can provide. NR, ask the questions related to protocol if you have any questions related to protocol.
So while we're waiting for any additional questions, Abhijit, you and I have, well, there we go. We got a question from Mohammed.
SDAP will be used only in case if only connected to 5G core. Yes, SDAP is
Definitely.
only applicable to the 5G core. SDAP is not applicable to the EPC core. Even your 4G devices, if they are connected to the 5G core network, that is SDAP is applicable. No. In current scenario, whatever the QCI you have, the same QCI is handled by 4G core network. There is nothing. In the NSA, we can provide only the data services.
So I did put the link there to the SDAP webinar that we gave several weeks ago. And that's another free replay. You can just follow that link. You might have to.
How was the webinar today? Guys, you liked the webinar? How was the webinar?
I think we got an audience full of protocol geeks.
Yes. No, option 3X is not SDAP is used because that option 3X is only applicable. See, in ENDC cases, have you heard about MRDC, multi-rad dual connectivity? In MRDC, we have different kind of options. Number one option is that MRDC have ENDC, that is ETRON network dual connectivity, that is called ENDC. Number two, NEDC, it means NR, ETRON dual connectivity, and then NEDC is connected to the 5G core network. Okay, so this is the reason we are using this one actually. So option 3X is not supported SDAP. Hatem is saying it's great, but you are in hurry. Don't worry, guys. Next time, slowly. Because of coronavirus, I'm in hurry.
I should say we've now given 25 of these webinars, so there's plenty of time. We're all going to learn a little by little.
Can we integrate both LTE and 5G rate in PDCP layer? The purpose is to dual connectivity. You cannot integrate. You can split the data at the PDCP layer. Either in the scenario for the 4G core network or either in the scenario for the 5G core network. You can just split the data at the PDCP layer. Because the job, just now you understand, the job for the RLC layer and the MAC layer for the LT and the job for the RLC layer and the MAC layer for the PDC 5G NR is different. So that's why we want to split the data at the PDCP layer and then we provide the information to those things so they can handle.
Rakesh and everybody, it'll take me a couple of hours, but I can download the video of this webinar and I have to clean it up a little bit, edit it a little bit, but then I'll send out an email with a link to where you can watch the replay and some of the other links to things we've discussed.
See, this small webinar is just important for you guys so you can directly give the interview, because from this small webinar, at least you have the idea what is 5G protocol. Okay. Deep webinar, it's required more than 2-3 days because 5G protocol is very big, and for that SDAP and all those things, if I want to explain you, I have to explain you bit by bit, then you will understand. So this is just.
Okay, I think we're about time to wrap it up here, everybody. Thanks for joining us so much. We appreciate your support, and you can always reply to any of our emails to suggest if there's a topic you'd like us to cover or something you'd especially like us to talk about in one of these webinars. Just reply to one of our emails and we'll follow up with that. And it's a Friday, so thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.